Okay, good morning YouTube. This is Saturday morning, July 21st. Beautiful Saturday morning. All the storms of the last 3 days have finally moved out. We had a lot of rough thunderstorms with heavy downpours, which we kind of needed. It was getting dry here. A lot of thunder and lightning past 2 or 3 days, but that was just the cooler air meeting the hot air. And now it's after the storms are gone and less humid, nice, beautiful day. I'm in a very good mood. Pretty day. Angel's happy. I'm in a very good mood because this is Saturday and I'm not at work. Okay, first thing we're going to do today. Now, last night I came out here intending to get the oil cooler together. It didn't happen. We're going to do it today though. But I'm kind of doing a redneck repair on my window. If you remember my hailstorm video, this window got busted out. I found... Angel, stop it. I found this old window up in my loft. It comes from over the window on the other side, which you can't see out of anymore because I built a lean-to shed on the other side of it, outside the garage, and I mounted my oil furnace in that old window opening. So I had this spare with glass already in it, and this is the sliding unit that came from this side. I took the broken glass out and made me a plexiglass insert, and the reason I did it this way, this is a temporary setup. I don't know how long, it'll probably be here for a while though. I want to be able to, instead of just sliding one over and still having half the window shut off on a hot day, I want to be able to just remove these. And you can remove these easily by grabbing hold of them, pushing up in that slot, pulling the bottom out. And that's why I went ahead and replaced the glass in this other sliding part of it, so that I can just remove them both. And later on we'll probably do a barn. I'll do a homemade, I'm going to make my own window which will open out. It'll be split in the middle, hinged on this side and that side, and it will swing out kind of like some of the old barn windows, something like that. And the reason I want it that way, I want more open area when it's hot so that more air can get in here. And also I may want to put a big window fan in it, and I'll be able to do that because of that, and it will draw all the air it possibly can through because of the bigger opening, or possibly an air conditioning unit someday. But anyway, all I got left, I need to do a little clearing here. That is hitting my screw, but it's kind of a redneck repair, but it's going to work, and I think I'm going to like it better than the expensive vinyl window, really, because you're only limited to how much air you get through the window with those. Now, enough about that. This is supposed to be a Powerstroke video. Today, we're going to get our oil cooler together, and hopefully on the truck. Oh, we should easily be able to do that. And we're going to start throwing some stuff together after that. My plastic inner fender wells, I still need to clean those up. We'll take care of that. Dry them off, get them on there. And like I mentioned at the end of my last video, we're getting close to firing this thing up. See how far we get. I'm looking forward to doing a, what do they call it, old start. Hasn't been started in, we're going on 2 years. Okay, enough talking. I'm going to make my video too long again. And it's time to get to work. I'll show you what I'm doing as I progress through the day. Okay, YouTube, we are getting ready to get this oil cooler together. I know it looks like it's together right now, but there are no seals in it right now, and I'll tell you why I did that. To me, it's common sense that these surfaces here and here that bolt to the engine need to be as parallel as you can possibly get them. So what I'm doing is I went ahead and stuck it together with no seals because it's easier to get together that way, and I cleaned off my Bridgeport mill, and this table is the flattest surface I have in here. And now that I've got that laying there, I'm going to mark it. Okay, I had to pause the camera and get a marker. I'm just going to take my white paint marker, mark it here, and right about there. And that way, after the seal's on it, if it's not this mark isn't exactly lined up, we need to try to twist it. Hopefully we'll be able to twist it some with the seals on it. Not sure. First one I rebuilt. We'll get the seals on this thing and figure out how to press it together. Stay tuned. Okay, I'm back. And make sure this camera's lined up. Now the next thing we did, we went ahead, we got the seals on one end. Always remember the fat seal goes on this lip. The smaller black seal goes on this lip. In some kits, I think this seal is not green. I've seen pictures of other kits. Now, I've lubed them up with a little more Vaseline. I'm going to go ahead and lube this up too. Hopefully it'll help it slide on. I want to try, okay, we're playing this by ear now. I haven't done this before, so I can't tell you beforehand the best way to do this. But I'm going to try press this on by hand. I don't know how this is going to work. Always remember to line this one, back one up with that tab there. I will probably have to put this in my press, and then I'll probably have to use a big long vise. Yeah, I'm going to have to press that on. Okay, we've got that started. Let me get my camera situated and my press set up. Okay, as you can see, we got everything set up in the press. Tabs lined up with the slot. Gently try to press it down on here. Looks like it's going right on. There it goes, popped in. That wasn't bad at all. Yeah, it doesn't take much, but having a press makes it easier. There are other ways of doing it. Big long clamp, like a 36-inch clamp would do it, like carpenters would use. Now, I'll show you how I'm going to do the other end. Turn this camera around. Okay, here's how I'm going to do this. Throw it out of my way. As you remember, I marked the lines. I'm going to lay this back down here so it's flush with the surface against the mill. And I also need to put some seals on it first. It's not going to work very well with no seals. Okay, leave it somewhere where it's not too dirty. Big seal and get it over that first shoulder there. Get that slid all the way back there. And here's your second smaller seal. This goes here. And I'm going to put a little bit of Vaseline in this housing here. Okay. Clean my hands off so they won't be so slick. Alright, I'm going to try to do this in the press too. First, I just want to try to get it like that. Now, that will work. I think I'm going to have to move my press here. May have to lower the. I believe it'll fit. I had to do. Found this piece of round stock, fit it under the part that I'd already pressed on. The reason I needed that so I could raise this up so that this wouldn't hit that. And I just got it in there, and I brought the ram down just enough to hold the piece in so it wouldn't fall out on me. Looks like our mark is aligned pretty well. And we're going to try to press her together. Hope it pops together as easy as the other one. And I'm pretty sure, looks like it's going to. There it goes. It's done down there. I like it. Now that wasn't too bad at all. Now of course, if you don't have a press, like I said, there's other ways to do it. But this little presser didn't cost me that much. It's handy to have in the shop if you want to, if you like to work on your own stuff. I've used it to press pinion bearings off whenever I do the 4 9-inch on a race car stuff like that. And I got my paint messed up. I have to touch that. But that's pretty much all there is to rebuilding these things. All I gotta do is bolt it on the truck. Stay tuned, I'll show you what else we've got done today. Okay, everything's going good so far. I've got the cooler bolted up in there. The gaskets aren't in it yet, and I'm going to tell you why I didn't put them in. After I got this thing up in there, it was still a little bit of a wrestling match to get it fitted up in here. It's a little tight to get this front part up in there. If you're doing it with the truck all together, I'd recommend maybe breaking an engine mount loose and jacking it up. Just an inch would make a big difference. That would help this fit through there. Then of course it slides back. Oops, kind of slipped there. It slides back and just goes down right through there. But the reason I didn't put the gaskets on it yet, after I got it up in there, I want to make sure that my 2 gasket surfaces aligned correctly. And earlier, as you seen how I did on the table of my mill, I made them parallel to each other. And evidently the gasket surfaces on the engine are not exactly parallel or perpendicular to each other. A little bit of difference. It was close, but it wasn't perfect. But the good news is, with those new seals on there lubed up, you can spin those ends around fairly easy. It's not too easy, but you know, with the lube on there, you can spin them around. So I was able to move them and line them up. And to line them up, make sure they was seated right, I went ahead and put all my bolts in with no gaskets and snugged them down so that the gasket surface were seated against each other. And now to get the gaskets in, I'm going to show you how I'm going to go ahead and do that. Because as you know, if you try to stick one to the block and you go to wrestling that thing in, they're going to fall off on you and you're going to get mad. If you use Permatex to stick them on, you're going to get mad, you're going to cuss, kick. Just make it more frustrating than it has to be. And as far as I'm concerned, you don't have to put Permatex on these. These gaskets come with the sealer on them. So hopefully I'm right on that. I'm not going to put anything on them. But what I did before I put it on, I just made sure I knew exactly how my gaskets go on. This one fits on the front just like I'm looking at it. So I laid it right there just like that. Top going that way. Did the same thing with this one. And I've already removed all of my back bolts and I loosened the fronts. And all I'm going to do to get my gaskets in is, I probably won't do all this. It's very hard to do with one hand. As you can see, that big gap back there, because there's no bolts on this end and the front ones are loose. I'm just going to stick my gasket right up in there like that. And then I'll get my bolts in. I'm not going to do this with holding the camera. I need 2 hands. But just to give you an idea how to do it, then once I get one bolt hole lined up, I'll start the threads in it and get my other bolt and turn that gasket till the other hole lines up. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Shut the camera off. Stay tuned. I'm going to show you more progress as the day goes on. Okay, a little update. Everything went well. Got the gaskets in it. All the bolts are in it, good and tight. Block heaters in. Everything went just like I hoped it would. I'm hoping that some of my tips might help anybody out that attempts to do this job. Like I say, this is going to be harder when it's all together if you don't have a strip down like this one, but hopefully it will help. But only thing I got left right now is to put the oil filter on and fill it up with oil. And I just wanted to show one little thing. I guess a lot of people watching this probably already know this, but whenever I change oil filter, I always like to put a little oil in the filter. Not all the way full. You don't want it pouring out when you screw it on. But the reason I do that is, if you put one on empty, I don't know if you noticed, but when you start it up, it takes a little longer than usual for your oil pressure to come up. And on a quiet engine, you can even hear a little bit of knocking for a split second. It's not good. That means it's taking that time. I think this thing's trying to fall over on me. It's taking that time to fill up that filter, I guess. And I guess the pump is probably sucking air for maybe a second or two, if that long. And you know, that's not good. That knocking means your bearings aren't getting any oil pressure in there. There's no oil in there. There's some oil in it, but you know what I mean. It's, whenever engine knocks, it's not good. But yeah, I like to fill this up. As you can see, the filter is kind of soaking it up there. Well, I'll tell you what. Trying to do something and hold the camera, I tell you what, it's a lot harder than you think. I'm going to pry that up against there. It's trying to fall over on me, even in the box. Oops, I'm spilling a little bit of it. But it's going where it needs to go. Yeah, you see how much that held. It's a big filter. The FL 1995, there's two different filters that fit these Powerstrokes. One of them's about that tall from there up. This is the big one, and this is the one where it requires you to buy 4 gallons. I think that's right. I think with the small filter you can get by with 3. The large filter, I think you put 3 gallons in it, and then you got to buy a 4th and use a quart or 2 of it. I'll let you know after I fill it up. I can't remember. It's been this truck, like I said, this truck's been apart for almost 2 years, so. Of course, it's been at least that long, actually longer, since I've changed oil in it. I do change oil regularly though, but in these 7.3s, probably I guess all Powerstrokes with with the fuel injection diesel, I learned one lesson one time. I went too long without an oil change, and the truck started acting up. I thought it had another bad cam sensor, and it had the exact same symptoms. We going down the road, it'd die. And since it is a stick, it would clutch start itself. It'd die and then just come back to life. And if you were sitting at idle, of course, it would die and you have to restart it, but it'd start right back up. And I had a cam sensor go bad and did the exact same thing. And I took it home and ordered a cam sensor because I had another truck to drive. And I wasn't in a hurry to get it running. But I got to reading around some forums, and they were saying that the biggest mistake mechanics make on troubleshooting these diesels is to make sure that the oil has been changed when it should have. What happens, your oil breaks down, and you got a high pressure oil pump, which is mounted behind this. See if I can get over here, we can get a view of it. Kind of hard to see, but it's right in front of that fuel canister. If you can see that plug going in there. See that harness with the red tape spiraled around it? The high pressure pump is right under that, and 2 bolts go in this way, 2 or 3 bolts, I forgot how many, and that's also a common leak for these. I hope this one isn't leaking. But anyway, that's your fuel, it's called the high pressure oil pump, and it's the pump for your fuel injectors as far as I know. Like I said, I'm not a diesel expert, but that's just what I've learned from what research I've done on these. And I'm getting off the subject here, but when your oil breaks down, the oil pressure also goes down from that injection pump, and it doesn't feed the fuel right, I guess. And that's what was happening to mine, because while I was waiting for the cam sensor, I did an oil change, and just out of curiosity, I wanted to see if it would do it again, and it stopped doing it. Just another little tip on these old 7.3s, keep your oil changed. Anyway, I'm babbling again, turning a medium length video into a way too long video, but so what? I don't care. I guess the next thing I need to do, I'm going to go ahead and put this filter on, fill it up with oil, make sure I do that so I don't forget. And I guess I'll take a break, get me something to eat, and I'm going to get my inner fender wells out, which are plastic, and I'm going to degrease them down and pressure wash them off. Hopefully I'll get them dry and put them on this afternoon and tonight. Stay tuned, I'll show you what all I get done this weekend.